change it if I could. I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. Living life just like I should. Wouldn't change it if I could. I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. Trying to figure out who I am, or who I'm supposed to be. Feel good about where I stand, so I can make the most of me. I'm coming back down from space, a million miles away. There's a lot of love in this place, and I'm just trying to say I'm good. I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. Living life just like I should. Wouldn't change it if I could. I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. Living life just like I should. Wouldn't change it if I could. I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. Trying to figure out living this way. Worrying about what people say. Feeling like I don't fit in, but I don't give up. No, I won't give in. Been looking for something more. What you really looking for? Been with you since you were born. Since you were born. You're good. You're good. You're good. You're good. Living life just like I should. Wouldn't change it if I could. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. Living life just like I should. Wouldn't change it if I could. I'm good. I'm good. You only live once. I'm good with myself. I'm there for my friends until the very end. You only live once. I'm good with myself. I'm there for my friends until the very end. I want to see another love revolution. Find a way to be a better person. If we come together like we should, we could all be good. I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. Living life just like I should. Wouldn't change it if I could. I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. Living life just like I should. Wouldn't change it if I could. I'm good, I'm good, I'm good.
We are good. Isn't that nice to hear that in a spiritual center? Not everybody grew up in one in which you heard that message, but you are good. We are good, and this is going to be a good morning because today and every day we have swung wide the doors to the presence of God, knowing that Spirit is in this place and in all places and all people. So just as the sun awakens us to a new day, the Spirit of God within awakens us to divine glory. And this glory within and around us is everywhere we look and in every situation we encounter. With our hearts centered in Spirit, we can quiet our thoughts and meditate on the wonder of all of God's creation and our oneness with it. So I invite you now to take a deep breath, become comfortable, and gently release any cares of the day. Because your sole purpose at this moment is to experience the divine. And you begin to do so now as you relax into this sacred time and space at Unity Spiritual Center. Seeing through eyes of oneness, acknowledging our oneness, we at Unity Spiritual Center celebrate and honor people of every culture, of every creed, of every religion, of every race, of every age, and every lifestyle, knowing that there are many paths to God, many faces of God, many names for God, but only one God. And that God is expressing through all people in unique, special, and individual ways. As you look at the flame of the candle that we light every Sunday, remember that you too have a divine flame within, that you are a spark of God. You are an individualized expression of God. We honor the one presence and power of God with Unity's foundation statement, which you'll find on the screen behind me. And I invite you to join with me now in saying it aloud together. There is only one presence and one power, active as the universe and as my life, God the good, omnipotent. We give thanks for our spiritual community and for the beauty of our spiritual center. We give thanks that Unity Spiritual Center is a welcoming, warm, and inclusive community dedicated to studying and putting into practice empowering principles and tools for happiness, health, prosperity, and successful living. We give thanks that through our spiritual teachings, we can create extraordinary lives and a peaceful planet through our relationship with the loving God presence within each one of us and through our relationships with one another. Our vision and the opportunity for each one of us here is that you discover the power within you to create the life of your dreams, that you have peace of mind and deep happiness, that you enjoy joyous and loving relationships with yourself, with spirit, and with others, that you spend your days doing what you love and feel called to do, and most of all, that you know that your life matters, that you make a difference, and that the world is a better place because you're here. If you're visiting us for the first time, and I know a couple of you are, you should have already received the gifts that we give out. If you didn't and you would like a shell lei, please raise your hand. We give out shell leis that have a tag on them that says, just as God has a design for every shell in the sea, God also has a design for your life. Not to be confused with chalet, it's a shell lei, and if you'd like one, please do raise your hand. We also have packets of information about Unity in general and Unity Spiritual Center in particular. All of the printed material you'll find has our contact information on it. And just know that if you're here for the first time or if you've been here 1,000 times before and you'd like to have a conversation about what Unity is, Unity principles, or anything else that's on your mind, please don't hesitate to contact me because I love to have those conversations. We also have a wonderful and famous brunch spread in the next room following the service. So please join us for that, and we would love to have the opportunity to get to know you better. So at this time, as we move into the meditative portion of our service, if you haven't already, please do turn off any electronic devices or your cell phones, and we are going to sing together now. I'll turn it over to Michael Hatfield, our music director.
Good morning. Today is a little chant. The words are extremely difficult. Okay, we ready? Actually, let's explain this one for a second. I think I'm going to be explaining myself all day today. I don't know. It must be today. But when you have your little life plan and it's all up in your head and you decide this is where I want to be, where I want to go, and you've got it all up there, you maybe have not said it aloud to anybody, but you know. And then there's a little detour you had to take because somebody else said this, and would you mind doing this, and can you help me over here? And so then you take that little detour. You said, well, that's okay, I'll get back to that. And then that little detour led to another little detour, and you went, well, oops, a little bit further away, and then you finally remembered that I am not anywhere near where I thought I wanted to really actually be. And I know here that that's where I must be. And that's all that this is about, is just that one line of trying to get back to the original purpose that you knew you had. So that's explanation number one. There'll be plenty more. And it's a chant, so we don't have to sing it loud. It can be very quiet. I might even add a counter line if we're feeling brave and bold. I am remembering who I am. 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 Okay, with that in mind, here's a counter line if anyone feels bold. And that's, I would give this one to the women in the room. It's a little higher, and it sounds like this. And then the word that goes with it is just, I am remembering. I am remembering. Okay, ladies, you hold on to that, because I'm going to bring the guys in with the other line. So you have to stick to your guns. I am remembering, guys. I am remembering who I am. 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 I'm remembering who I am. I am remembering who I am. I am remembering who I am. I am remembering who I am. Thank you.
So as we continue to remember who we are, as we continue to get comfortable in our seats and relax even more deeply into this time of worship, prayer, and meditation, let us open our hearts to receive the message of today's daily word. The message for today is let go, let God. Is there anyone who'd like to read today's daily message? Josephine. The daily word will be read by Josephine Tan.
Morning. Let go, let God. I turn within to my spiritual source in the face of any challenge, any fear. The affirmation, let go and let God, can be found on the walls of recovery programs throughout the world. Its truth is unquestioned, and its implications have only expanded as our collective consciousness has grown. Today I recognize that letting God is not surrendering to an outside source, but choosing which of the narratives within me I believe. When I quiet the opinions and fears of my ego mind, I allow my innate divine nature to express through me as strength and inspiration in the face of every challenge the day may bring. I am an expression of divine love, and as such I affirm, I turn within to my spiritual source in the face of any challenge, any fear. God yearns jealously for the spirit that he has made to dwell in us. Submit yourselves therefore to God. From James 4:5-7.
Unity Spiritual Center is a center of prayer and healing. As many of you know, we have a community prayer chest that's placed on the table in the back of the sanctuary, along with prayer request forms. And you are always invited to fill one of those forms out. They're printed on green paper, and place it in the community box. And let's just hold those prayer requests that are now in that box in our hearts, not knowing who has said what, who needs what, but just knowing that there are real expressions of the heart that are placed within. Let's hold them in our hearts just for a moment and know that whoever is represented in that prayer chest, divine love is enfolding them, and divine order is taking place in their lives. The prayer requests that are placed in that box are prayed on by me and our USC prayer team for 30 days, and then we forward them to Silent Unity at Unity's World Headquarters, where they're prayed on for an additional 30 days. And as I mentioned, there are green prayer request forms in the back for you to fill out at any time you might want to. But we do have a place in our service where you can make your prayers audible. And this is that time to share your prayer needs aloud with your spiritual family here, so we can support you and stand with you. So after we sing the introduction to this song, which Michael will lead us through, you're invited to speak your prayer need aloud, and we will follow each one by singing "Your Prayer is My Prayer Too."
We are connected by the heart. Where do you end? Where do I start? Whatever you feel, I feel too. You're a part of me. I'm a part of you. Your prayer is my prayer too. Your prayer is my prayer too. Your prayer is my prayer too. Your prayer is my prayer Your prayer is my prayer too. Your prayer is my prayer too. Your prayer is my prayer too.
We also have a time in our service where we can share those things that we're grateful for, things that we feel blessed by, our Thanksgivings. And this is the time to share that with your spiritual family if you'd like to. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. We give thanks for this opportunity to bless and to be blessed in spirit. We give thanks for the feelings of connection, of peace, of warmth that fill our hearts and minds right now. We give thanks for the privilege of praying for others in our community, in our nation, and around the world. And we know, we affirm that always, no matter what appearances are, divine love and divine order is everywhere present. At Unity Spiritual Center, your prayer is our prayer too. Amen.
Looking at me going, why did he choose these songs? I normally don't have to explain myself much about my song choices. They kind of say what they need to say for what's going on. This one is a pair of tunes, actually, that we'll do at the other end of the service, all written by the same guy. And basically, it's celebrating someone someone who helped you get through whatever transformation you had to go through yourself. Sorry. This could be hard. I'm going to try to make that happen. But when you do transform, you leave behind a lot of people that knew the old you. That wasn't the you thought you were. So this talks about that. Got started. Let's see how we do. Box of Kleenex here. Hang on a second. This is. Thank you. Box delivery. Box delivery. There may be a percussion solo in the middle. Good, that's getting me in the right mood to go. Okay. Here we go. Let's try this again. You and me against the world. Sometimes it feels like you and me against the world. When all the others turn their backs and walk away, you can count on me to stay. Remember when the circus came to town and you were frightened by the clown? Wasn't it nice to be around someone that you knew, someone who was big and strong, looking out for you and me against the world? Sometimes it feels like you and me against the world. And for all the times we've cried, I always felt that God was on our side. And when one of us is gone and one of us is left to carry on, then remembering we'll have to do, our memories alone will get us through. Thinking about the days of me and you and me against the world. And when one of us is gone and one of us is left to carry on, then remembering we'll have to do, our memories alone will get us through. Thinking about the days of me and you and me against the world. That's for Kit.
Actually, let's do, just spend a moment of silence and memory and love for Ken. I know some of you didn't know him, but he was always one of the first to grab a percussion instrument, and seeing him in front of everyone, just sharing his joy of life was always a special sight. So let's take a moment to really give gratitude in our hearts for his life. Give gratitude for the fact that not only did he cross our path, but he was part of our community. And we know that his soul is blessed, and he is surrounded in love as he enters this next part of his journey. Thank you. So today we are talking about transformation. Actually, we're talking about transformation throughout August. And last week we talked about transformation in our personal lives. Today we're going to talk about transforming our relationships. Now, often when we think about transforming our relationships, we think about the other person, right? No matter who it is, whether it's our significant other, a friend, a family member, a coworker. Usually we think about transforming the other person. And that if only they would do this, then our relationship would be great, right? So how many people think that you can transform another person? Not working? It was on, I think. Hello? Oh, okay, we got it. Thank you. So how many people think that you can change another person? Oh, good. Oh, excellent. We can try. Exactly. You could try, but most of us have been around long enough to know that that's not a very fruitful or successful endeavor, right? We can't change another person. The only people that we can change are ourselves. That's right. And by changing ourselves, then we have a shot at maybe being able to transform a relationship. So I want to ask before we get started, what can be roadblocks in the way of relationships? And you can just throw this out popcorn style, like Kathy. Oh, okay. So when you have a stumbling block in a relationship, what can it be usually? Expectation, yeah, definitely. Annette? Communication. Yeah. Or lack of communication, that's right. Silence, not understanding what's going on. Anything else that you can think of off? Yeah, Ruben. Anger, yeah. Finances, yeah. Kathy?
I think it takes really deep exploration of what is not whole and complete in myself
Yeah,
that I am seeing so vividly in this other person.
yeah, definitely. Definitely. I mean, no matter what the issue is, and I heard somebody say trust too, no matter what the issue is, it is always, as we grow in our spiritual journey, and clearly all of you have, because you know that you can't change another person, and that is the first step. It's like, what's going on in me? How might this reflect something that I do, or something that's going on in my life? We always want to start with ourselves, as Kathy said. So given that we can't change another person, but we have different issues in our relationships that we want to transform, how can we do that? What are some specific ways we can do that? We can start by looking at ourselves, but there's some other things too that I think we can do that I just wanted to throw out for your consideration. So I'm going to give you 5, and these do work no matter what the relationship is, whether it's with a child, a sibling, other family member, partner, friend, coworker. Let's take a look at these and see what you think. So the first thing is, when you are focusing on a behavior that you don't like. The first thing is to look at what's right about them, not what's wrong, right? It's a very fundamental unity principle that what we focus on expands, that we want to look for the good so that we will see more of that good. The thoughts held in mind produce after their kind, right? And interestingly, the philosopher Goethe, German philosopher who I don't think was familiar with the New Thought philosophers of the time. I think he was before them, but he said something really interesting that bears repeating. He said, I have come to the frightening conclusion, and I think we'll all agree it can be frightening, that I am the decisive element. It is my personal approach that creates the climate. It is my daily mood that makes the weather. I possess tremendous power to make life miserable or joyous. I can be a tool of torture or an instrument of inspiration. I can humiliate or humor, hurt or heal. In all situations, it is my response that decides whether a crisis is escalated or de-escalated, and a person is humanized or dehumanized. If we treat people as they are, we make them worse. This is Goethe still. If we treat people as they ought to be, we help them become what they are capable of becoming. There's a lot of truth and wisdom in that statement, isn't there? Because haven't you noticed that if something's bothering you about someone, sometimes it just eclipses everything else in your experience with that person, and all you can think of is, that weird noise they make with their mouth, or that annoying habit they have of finishing your sentence, or whatever it happens to be. You just focus in on that. And what happens when you do that? It seems like it starts happening more and more because that's what you're focusing on. But what he's saying is that it starts with you, and if you start looking at someone for what they can be, I mean, that's the ultimate, right? To see the ideal, to see the Christ in them. But even just just looking at them in their earthly incarnation, just looking at the good stuff that they show up with, that can be transformative. That can change your experience with that person. So another thing you can do is to encourage their brilliance. To encourage their brilliance. And I'm sure you've experienced what scientists have proven. And that is that roughly it takes 5 compliments to counteract the one negative thing that somebody may have said to you. Haven't you noticed that? That you can give a presentation at work, or you can, do a chore around the house for your spouse, or, whatever it happens to be. And if you get a critical remark back, it's going to take 5 compliments before you feel okay. There's something about the way we're hardwired that we default to the negative, and that's what we remember. We remember the bad thing that was said to us, not the many good things that were said. So that's something that we want to do, is to encourage the brilliance of the people around us. And what that means is not, pick apart little things that ultimately don't matter. Not be that kind of nagging voice that is always seeing or hearing that sound that somebody's making with their voice or with their mouth or whatever, but the good things that they do. And there's a wonderful little graphic that floats around on Pinterest. Some of you may have seen it. A guy named Dave Willis said, "Be an encourager. The world has enough critics." And isn't that true? Isn't that kind of what we long for, you know? Just to be in the company of people who are encouragers and not critics. Now, related to that is to accept people as they are. In a way, it sounds a little bit paradoxical, doesn't it? Like if you're trying to encourage someone's brilliance, then why would you want to accept someone the way they are? But the fact is that often, maybe not always, but often when we're trying to encourage somebody's brilliance, there's a hidden agenda there. There can often be a bit of manipulation. Like if we encourage somebody, sometimes we're encouraging the behavior that we want to see in them. So we're being a little bit selfish about it. So for example, say there's a child, you have a child who's in school, and you really want them to be a scientist. Then you would probably praise that science aptitude often because you're trying to move the person into a particular direction. It's actually something that my husband and I have been looking at, is the fact that our daughter, and we learned this starting about age 10, has a real proclivity for argument. But not just any kind of argument, you know, usual kid argument with a parent. It's like detailed facts that are stacked one on top of the other so that she can make a case. And so my husband and I have often laughed that we better start saving for law school because this is clearly the direction that she's going in. But we have to be careful about that. We have to be careful about pushing her down the road. That may not be something she wants to do. She just may be one of those people who's extremely talented at being able to argue her point. We have to accept who people are, and we have to let them live their own life, whether we're a parent or a partner or even just a friend. People need to have their own experiences. So that's the third thing that you can do in transforming relationships, is to accept people as they are. And a very profound statement related to this that I remember hearing a long time ago was somebody who I used to work with, and she was talking about her mother. And there was a part of her that really longed to have a different kind of relationship with her mother, but she was at the age where she realized that was not going to happen. And she said, you know, I learned how to accept my mother for what she could give me, for what she can give me, not resent her for what she can't. And that has always struck me as such a profound wisdom, that we may want somebody in our life to be different in some way, particularly when it comes to showing love or expressing love. But we have to remember that they're doing what they can do, and we need to accept them for what they're able to. And it's easier to do that if we accept where they are on their spiritual journey. So this is the fourth thing that you can do to transform your relationship, is just respect the fact that they are on their own spiritual journey and they have their own divine assignment to fulfill. You know, sometimes we have very strong opinions about what somebody should do or how they should live their life or how they could be a better person if only they did X. But that's really getting in the way of an unfolding that is under control, you know. We don't have to be the divine presence in our relationships. There is a divine presence that is available for each one of us here. There is a higher power, a God, an intelligence, a source, whatever word you want to use, that is in charge of each one of us, that is guiding our experience, and we don't have to take that role on for anyone, because we don't know what soul journey somebody may be on. So something important to keep in mind as people on a spiritual path is just trust. Like the daily word said today, right? Let go and let God. And finally, and this may be a little more poignant today than other times, to transform a relationship, never forget that the person, the time you have with a person is not guaranteed. You don't know how much time you might have left with a person, because life can change on a dime. So I want to read you a fragment of a poem by a local poet named Ellen Bass. I think she's in Santa Cruz. She wrote a poem called If You Knew that speaks to this. And in part, it goes like this. What if you knew you'd be the last to touch someone? If you were taking tickets, for example, at the theater, tearing them, giving back the ragged stubs, you might take care to touch that poem, to brush your fingertips along the lifeline's crease. When a man pulls his wheeled suitcase too slowly through the airport, when the car in front of me doesn't signal, when the clerk at the pharmacy won't say thank you, I don't remember that they're going to die. We're fragile. We're fragile. This is a journey that we're all on, the human journey, spiritual beings having a human experience. And we don't know how long any of us is going to stay incarnated. And obviously the point in that poem is not to be morbid. It's just to remember that our time together is precious. It's precious. And the people who we share this journey with are precious. So we need to remember to love in the best way we can, to transform our perhaps habitual or default reactions into something deeper, to be mindful of all of these things we've talked about, so that we can love more deeply, more fully. Well, that's what the Buddhist monk Jack Kornfield said. He said at the end of life, only two questions are going to matter. How much? Let me say that again. He said at the end of life, our questions are very simple. Did I live fully? And did I love well? So may all of us live fully. May all of us love well. May all of us make a new commitment to transforming our relationships with love. And so it is. Amen. So as Ethel turns down the lights, I want to give you a chance to be in meditation for a few moments. So I invite you now to get comfortable, to close your eyes, to take a few slow, deep breaths, and begin to relax. And as you hear the soft strains of this music that Michael is playing, I invite you just to go deeper inside. Just let that music take you deeper and deeper. And as your body becomes more and more relaxed, turn your attention now to your heart center, located in the center of your chest, near your physical heart. And if you like, place your hand there. Just bring warmth and breath to your heart. And notice what you're feeling there right now. Just notice any thoughts, feelings, memories that might surface as you bring loving attention to your heart. And now I invite you to visualize a stream of pure white light above your head. Pure white light that streams softly into your body, just showering you with radiance. Imagine that light flowing directly to your heart center, gently warming your heart like rays of sunshine. You can just breathe deeply, receiving this gift. That stream of light, just imagine it creating more spaciousness within. Your heart beginning to glow like the sun, radiant and warm. You might even feel some warmth on your hand if it's still placed over your heart. And in your mind's eye, see the wide open expanses, the space that is filled with the warmth of divine love. And take this moment to give love to yourself. Have empathy for yourself. Nurture yourself with compassion. Feel yourself with the warmth of divine love. And now imagine the radiance in your heart expanding outward, filling your entire body with its warmth. Imagine that radiance extending outward to others. And as you begin to feel that love flowing in your heart, put your attention on the person sitting next to you or nearest to you. And give that person the gift of compassion, of empathy. Embrace that person with your loving heart and surround him or her with the warmth of your love. And think now of friends and acquaintances and relatives, anyone who comes to mind, and send that feeling of togetherness, of caring, of love to them. And then go further. Send love to everyone in this city, to everyone in this state, to everyone in this nation, to everyone in the world. Just feel your love reaching so far and so wide that it touches everyone. And now begin to place your attention back on yourselves again. Just recognize the joy that comes from this loving, this giving, this sending of compassion to ourselves, those around us, to all those whom we share life with on this planet. And know that you can feel that sense of complete and total love at any time you choose to. And just take a few more moments to rest in this love, this all enfolding love, which is always there for you to access. And knowing that you can return to your inner sanctuary at any time, that you can feel that love at any time you choose. Begin now to return to our outer sanctuary, perhaps moving your fingers or your feet, taking another slow, deep breath if you choose. And when you're ready, coming back to waking consciousness and opening your eyes. Unity offers positive, practical, progressive spiritual teachings and tools that honor the universal truth in all religions and respects each individual's right to choose a spiritual path. And here at Unity Spiritual Center, we have empowering principles, inspiring vision, an exciting mission, and compelling values by which we strive to live. So I invite you to join with me and sing them aloud. Our vision is centered in God. We co-create a world powerfully transformed through the growing movement of shared spiritual awakening. Our mission is we are a creative, joy-filled spiritual community dedicated to healing, inspiring, and transforming the lives of all people through prayer, education, and love. And our values are, we are spirit-led, generous with resources, inclusive, joyously creative, and guided by integrity. And in this space, feeling inspired by our vision, mission, and values, feeling enriched by what we've experienced here this morning and what we're about to experience in community with others. Let us take time now to be a channel for enrichment through our generous tithes and love offerings. Practicing the principle of tithing ourselves as a spiritual community, we will be tithing 10% of the offering collected today to Unity Worldwide Headquarters and to the Habitat for Humanity. So let's take a moment now to bless our tithes and love offerings, placing them in our hands, perhaps placing them in that warm, loving heart as we say our offertory prayer. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God.
Day after day, I must face a world of strangers where I don't belong. I'm not that strong. It's nice to know there's someone I can turn to who will always care. You're always there when there's no getting over that rainbow. When my smallest of dreams won't come true, I can take all the madness this world has to give, but I won't last a day without you. So many times when the city seems to be without a friendly face, a lonely place, it's nice to know that you'll be there if I need you, and you'll always smile. It's all worthwhile, and when there's no getting over that rainbow, when my smallest of dreams won't come true, I can take all the madness this world has to give, but I won't last a day without you. Touch me and I end up singing. Troubles seem to up and disappear. You touch me with the love you're bringing. I can't really lose when you're near. If all my friends have forgotten half their promises, they're not unkind, just hard to find. One look at you and I know that I could learn to live without the rest. I've found the best when there's no getting over that rainbow, when my smallest of dreams won't come true. I can take all the madness this world has to give, but I won't last a day without you. No, I won't last a day without you. We give thanks for the many blessings that are in our church this very moment. We open ourselves to the infinite possibilities that are ours to choose. We are filled with a mighty faith that empowers and frees us to live our divine purpose and serve our community with excellence. And so it is. Amen.
And I want to thank everybody who gave service today, including our ushers, Ethelton Kwan and Valerie Hatfield, Ruben Diaz for working the welcome table, Josephine Tan for reading the daily word, Ron Willis for providing additional percussion. I know Rosa Bundy and Candy Corbett and Teresa Hernandez have created something wonderful for you in the next room to eat, one of our famous spreads. Sylvia Grady for helping with the kids, and Marcy Guzman for doing the beautiful slides and working our equipment. Let's give all of them a big round of applause. So you may have seen our tables overflowing with incredible books. When you walked in the sanctuary today, we are continuing with our summer big book blowout sale. So we have marked down the price of all of those books to only $1 each. There are some really great deals in there. We have been adding inventory every week, so even if you've looked before, there's probably something new out there. Please do take a look, add to your library, get gifts for friends, and if you can put your dollar bills in that basket on an honor basis, that would be great. But yeah, those books are priced to move, so please do help yourself to some wonderful bargains. Today at 12:45, I am going to offer a workshop. I've been working all summer, as many of you know, on transforming my upstairs office into an art studio. I had wonderful help from Josephine and Ruben, Brad and Gloria, Richard and Annette in making this transformation. They painted the room for me. We have been busy as bees up there, and I'm having a grand opening starting in about 5 minutes until 12:45 when the workshop starts. I've got food up there, not as good as what you're going to have up here. So help yourself there first, and then head upstairs. There's some little nibbles while you take a look at the new art attic. And then, as I said, offering a wonderful workshop at 12:45 on experiencing belonging. So it's $35, which includes all materials. But if you want to come to 3 of them at a discounted price, we'll offer it for just $100. But don't let money get in your way. I just want people to experience the space. And if you can't make it today, we're going to have another one on August 26th. There's a flyer in the back that looks like this. So if you're interested, please do take one of those. We're also bringing back our Reiki offering, which is such a gift to us from all the Reiki practitioners in our congregation. They offering it for just a love offering on the 3rd Sunday of every month. It's in this sanctuary, this room, following the service. So that means that next Sunday, after the service, there will be Reiki practitioners here to offer that to you. And we're so grateful for that. And I think with that, we'll bring in our children.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Now we just have to sing it backwards. And so, okay, I'll see if I can do this. Shine it, let shine it, let shine it, let. I'm gonna down, can't do it. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. She's got horses in her hands, her mouth. It's all about horses.
We have Violet, who would not leave the room until she brought all the horses. So we did So we have two of our students who just got back from a great vacation, so we heard a lot about what they saw in England. In England, yeah, and about the driving and everything. So we heard it all. So anyway, we just had a fun time. Lots of the students are going back to school, so we just took it easy today. Decided to just play and have fun. So that's what we did. So we could bless our children. Yeah, let's bless our children. We love you.
We bless you. We appreciate you. And we behold the presence of God in you, empowering you to do great things.
In a circle.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, a peace that was meant to be. With God as creator, family all are we. Let me walk with my family in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
As we look toward the ways in which we can transform ourselves in order to transform our relationships, we know that we can do it because we are always guided by the divine. We know that the
Light of God surrounds us. The love of God protects us. The presence of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is. Wherever I am,